Welcome to Make Shit Happen. Our guest today is Robert Garrett. Robert, thank you for taking the ride. I appreciate it. Thanks for driving. What is it, about 30 minutes from your place?
35 minutes. Not a problem, brother. It's my pleasure.
Robert, first time I met you, we were at Top Sushi.
Yeah.
And I was having a drink right there at the bar, and you were right there. And, we started talking to each other, and we kind of, gelled up. It was, you were there with your wife, and I was there with mine.
I agree.
And, since then we have just met each other at that bar, at that restaurant several times.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of something on the way over here. I don't know if you remember this,
but
there was one night with just happenstance that my wife and we happened to run into you guys at BB's. We were going to sit at the bar.
Yes.
Okay. And then it was full. So you guys invited us to sit and we sat. And you started telling me that you were going to do a podcast.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And here you what 100 episodes in or a little more? And,
that's it. A little over 100.
The world is so full of people talking about doing stuff. You're a doer, man.
Man, I appreciate it, man.
Awesome.
Well, thank you. Well, you're a doer as well. The other day you were telling me a story about how, you started, being and working for somebody as an electrician or just helping them as an apprentice.
That's right. Absolutely.
Right. And then all of a sudden, you were like, man, I like what this guy does.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Walk us in memory lane.
Okay. So I went to a small private school, and one of the girls there was a friend of mine, and her father owned an electrical contracting business. And she would ask some of the guys, we were teenagers in high school, right? And did anybody want to come and work? For her dad over the weekend, he'd pay him cash and just kind of manual labor stuff. And so me and a couple of my buddies did it, and they didn't like the hard work, but I liked it, so I went back every weekend, and then I worked for him during the summer, and I just really liked it, and when I graduated from high school, I was a horrible student. Okay, I just wasn't college material, so the only option was for me to go to work. So when I graduated from high school, the weekend's over, I'm working full time doing what I had been doing part time as an apprentice electrician. Well, now it's all licensed, right? So you have to work a minimum of 4 years under a master electrician in order to apply to take a test to become a journeyman licensed electrician, right? So once you get to that point, you're a licensed electrician, but now you have to work another 4 years under a master electrician in order to try to take your master's test. You're looking at 8 years. So in retrospect, I could have been a doctor, but but here I am, right? So you're 8 years in before you could even think about opening your own business,
And so by this time you're 26, 27 years old.
That's right.
Probably.
Yeah, that's right.
So what made you like this guy? You went to him. Did he have because he what made you want to be in your own business? When you went over there, did that guy, did he wow you? What happened?
Okay. So honestly, the man was like a second father figure to me. His name was Ronnie Wood, Wood Electrical Services. Super nice guy, He was like a second father to me. He probably might not think that, but to me, I thought that,
Yeah.
And what got me was, I remember we were in high school, and I might have even worked for him a couple of times at this point, and we were going over to his daughter's house, and his house. And we're driving down this road in this neighborhood. It's kind of an average neighborhood. And all of a sudden I see this house and I'm thinking, whoa, look at that house. It really impressed me. And they pull into the driveway. That was their house, lo and behold. Now, at the time, it seemed like a mansion to me, but it wasn't a mansion. But it was significantly, and it just, so that was an impression. He had the game. I didn't grow up that way.
Yeah.
So when I say I went to a private school, you think, oh, la-di-da. Well, this wasn't that. This is more a private school for wayward kids, Although there were some affluent family member type kids there. There were those that were the invert of that, me. And I saw that. And it just really stuck with me. And I just kept thinking, if he can do it, I can do it. And that wasn't a knock on him. But I thought, I could see it. This seemed real to me. And I could live this. I could do this.
It seemed like it's something achievable that I can do.
Absolutely.
And so now tell me a little bit about how you grew up. You went to a private school. When people hear private school, you're right. $40,000, $50,000 a year private school. They ain't doing that bad. So how? Were your parents pretty well off?
No, not even, man. I was an only child. my parents divorced when I was very young. My father was a plant worker, and my mother was a nurse, a registered nurse. And this was before nurses made any kind of money. She was a college graduate, a nurse, but they didn't make any money. So we lived damn near at poverty level. Now, I will say that as I grew up in that neighborhood, my dad would give me things that a lot of the kids that I grew up around didn't have. So I almost saw a little bit of both sides. Like I raced motocross when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I had new motorcycles, and I got a pretty nice Trans Am when I was Firebird when I was in high school, when I think I was almost 17. So I had some things, so I saw both sides, but really I grew up in the sticks. I mean, the cows, we used to throw rocks at the cows, and and we had shell roads, man. We'd ride these shell roads on the motorcycles, and stick your feet down and kick the sand up and the shells up and the guy behind you type stuff.
So what kind of kid were you? I know you played music.
We're going that way. We're going that direction now, Sam. I thought you liked me.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, well, I was a horrible kid. I was horrible. I had a good heart. I always had a good heart. But there's still a lot of people I see to this day that knew me as a kid or older. Maybe I didn't even think you'd be alive. I mean, I was hell on wheels, man. Not in a good way. I mean, don't get me wrong. I wasn't knocking little old ladies in the head and taking their purse and stuff. But,
not somebody you're proud of.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So I mean, and then you were playing music. So how did music start? And you still love music.
I do. I'm huge. I think we all love music, right? I do. I love to make it. And I love all types, man. I love hip hop. I love heavy metal. I love jazz. In fact, I'm kind of circling back around and kind of starting to learn some old jazz standards, different type of playing and stuff. But funny thing, man, my mother bought me a little Kent electric guitar when I was probably 10 or 11 years old. I can't remember the time. And so I really wanted to play. And then she took me to lessons. And this guy's showing me how to read the music and how to play Mary Had a Little Lamb. I didn't want to play. I wanted to play Jimi Hendrix. I wanted to play Rush, AC/DC. I don't want to play Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Yeah.
In reality, now knowing what I know, this guy could have easily showed me how to make music. You know how it is? You can make stuff fun while you're doing it and learning, or you can make it a battle the whole way.
Yeah.
And so that really turned me off. And I kind of just put it in the corner. And then a buddy of mine was hard on cash. I think it was probably 14 or something. I loaned him a little money. He let me hold a Gibson SG, which was my first real guitar that I had in my hands. Mm-hmm. And another buddy gave me a little distortion pedal. I don't even remember why he gave it to me. And then all of a sudden I heard that sound. And I just fell in love with it, man. I'd play all night long, all weekend long. That's what I did.
Wow. So now you started working for Mr. Woods.
Yep.
Back when you were in high school.
Yeah.
You graduated high school. You started working with him, and you today you own an you're an electrician, master electrician.
Yes.
You have an electric company.
Yeah.
So tell us what when you went to go work with him and you became an apprentice electrician, and then you took your test for journeyman. Mm-hmm. At that point, did you know I want to have my own company?
Always.
Okay.
Always.
And why?
Well, that's $1 million. I don't know. I don't even know if I knew why.
Okay.
I just knew I wanted to be my own boss. So I don't even know if it was monetary thoughts came into mind. Right. I don't know. I think it's just natural to want to be there. If you play baseball, you imagine being in the big leagues.
Right.
You imagine being in the high school team. You're on the high school team. You imagine playing in the college team.
Right.
You're always thinking that. If you're not, kind of what's the point?
Exactly.
And I don't mean that it's a knock against people, that's just was my mentality.
That was just your mentality.
That was just my mentality.
You wanted to be a business in your own business.
Entrepreneur.
Now, so then you worked for Woods for how long?
10 years. It was the only job I ever had.
So that's the only job you had. Then you decided you're going to open up your own company.
Yeah.
You open up your own company. You said he's your mentor. I mean, how did he feel when you said you were going to open?
Well, I can't really get into it, but there was definitely some mitigating circumstances. I had been there 10 years, so I was fully vested in a profit sharing plan they had put into play. So I had some money there. And there was a customer of his that was good friends of mine. Mm-hmm. It was an offshore crane manufacturer. Mm-hmm. And the guy, and we ended up being very good friends. My wife and his wife and us, and we all had kids around the same time. Anyway, he was taking over his business from his father. And he said, I just got an order for 20 cranes. And, you're going to be doing this work for him, and you keep talking about opening your own business. And so, boom. I mean, this went down on a Friday, and RMG Electrical, DBA, was born on a Monday. I mean, there was no break. I went from working full-time 10 years, Friday afternoons finished, Monday, I'm on my own. And I thought I was in hog heaven. I mean, little did I know I'd underprice myself and this, that, and the other, but that's a whole nother story.
So, I always say that being an entrepreneur and becoming an entrepreneur are two different things, because you can be, you probably were really good at being an electrician, and you still are. And I know you have some specialties, but all of a sudden you were just not an electrician. You were a businessman.
Bingo.
Okay. You're like, what? I got to pay taxes, and I got to do this, and I got to do the accounting, and I got to do all that stuff. And I mean, there's a lot of people learn it the hard way.
Yes.
Did you?
Absolutely. I always say I got a degree in business from the School of Hard Knocks, and it cost more than one from Harvard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in my ignorance as to what was going on. Now, the one thing that really saved me from getting too deep off into it in the beginning was I was really learning. Right. So when you think of, most of us think of electrical work, they think of people wiring this building and doing that type of stuff, maybe in homes and putting in ceiling fans and stuff. And of course, we did all that stuff and we are licensed to do that. But I specialize in motor controls and automation. So basically, in this area, in the Houston area, people that manufacture an industrial piece of equipment, could be an oil water separator, a compression skid, a hydraulic power unit, any number of things that's made, right? I'll go in with these guys and like that crane company, and I will design the electrical control. I was learning this. I was never taught this. I wasn't even taught this when I'd been doing it for 10 years. And I was going to school at night because the master's test was an 8-hour test in the city of Houston at that time. So I studied for years and went to school at night while I was working and continued to do so when I started my company. So I'm learning this as I'm going. I taught myself AutoCAD. Funny story. We met at Top Sushi.
Yes.
Did you ever meet the bartender, Jackie? Do you know Jackie?
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jackie and her sister, Janice, they run Voices over there and all that stuff. Her name struck me as odd. And one day, I don't know, a couple of years after knowing her, she come to find out her father, he and I worked together at my first customer for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
He taught me the basics of AutoCAD, Jackie's father, and we become friends with her. I hadn't seen him in many years, and he had actually, because I would do the design, I would do the wiring and the control. We were doing all explosion-proof, intrinsically safe, and we were just wireless controls of these offshore cranes that would go in these hazardous locations, offshore in plants, and I would kind of hand draw up what I was doing, and he would have to document. One day he says, "Hey, Robert, let me show you this, and so you can start doing this yourself."
Doing it yourself.
And then things changed, and they got into programmable logic controllers, which are basically industrial computers.
Yeah.
So I taught myself how to program that, and so and it wasn't like now. Right now, you get a YouTube video. Boom,
Yeah,
you're an expert.
you get an expert
in 15 minutes. He's probably doing it right now on his phone. What are you learning how to do? Right?
I'm sure I was asking him the other day, well, how did you learn to do that? And he told me YouTube.
We couldn't do that when we were coming.
Yeah. So let's go back. So you start your own business. You learn a lot. Your first job, you even underpriced it, right? I mean, because there's a lot to it, right? Now, because at first you were just an electrician, but now you're estimating, you're cost estimating it, and you're doing all that stuff. Tell me one of the biggest mistakes or biggest lesson you learned that you can advise somebody who's learning or somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur, who wants to go in their own business. What will that be?
I say business 101, separate your business from your personal.
Okay. Explain that if you don't
mind. Some people, why rent an office? Because I'll just do it all at my house. And now you've got your personal bills on the desk with your business bills on the desk, and you're intertwining. I think that separation is very important. Let the business stand on its own. Treat it that. Now, you don't have to go rent office space, but do something to separate it. Mm-hmm. Get yourself protected. Get incorporated, right? And then at that point, the only way I know is it was all through the School of Hard Knocks. Now, my wife did all the accounting for years. And she's luckily now has been retired and spends time with the grandchildren and stuff like that. So really just the first thing is separation of self, personal from business.
That's number one.
For me was number one. And then like you said, man, taxes, all of these types of things you don't realize when you, like I said, most people are probably pretty good. I mean, if you were a crappy cook, would you start a restaurant? Probably most people are pretty good at what they do. They don't fail because they're not good at what they do. They fail because they don't know how to run the business.
They don't know how to run the business.
Cash flow is king, brother. I don't care what you worry about. Profit's going to matter in the end, but you better have the cash flow. So there's a lot of stuff that, I mean, the way you look at
that you learn. I mean, and you learn it. A lot of people learn it along the way, and some people they make it, some people they don't. I mean, you're right, but I mean, you might as well teach yourself pretty fast if you don't have anything that you know about it.
I think another big thing, and I say this all the time, right? Is like it's easy to shine when stuff's going your way.
Oh yeah.
Anybody can do that. Anybody can do that. The trick is to shine when it's not going your way. That's what gets you. Businesses don't go out of business when they've got plenty of business and everything's going well. They go out of business when things get rough.
Yeah.
Maybe it's personal life. Maybe you're going through a divorce. Maybe you got a sick child. Maybe, whatever.
Well, like this COVID that happened. That was a big one.
Oh, dude, this is catastrophic. I feel so sorry for these bar owners and these business, the restaurants. And honestly, it's affected us all. I don't know about you, you're the marketing king. So I don't know, brother. But for, peons like me, I've seen there's been a drastic change.
I mean, there's been drastic change. I mean, things have changed. I mean, everywhere. I mean, there's been big cost increases, as transportation, offshore and inshore. I mean, there's been big challenges in getting people to work. You get 4 or 5 people out of your work, and all of a sudden they all have COVID. Now you're, cut down your workforce, and workforce is important, because we are still people. You need people. You have 2 electricians out, your project cannot get done.
Absolutely.
Same thing with us. And so it's been a lot of challenges. It's been a hectic year, for sure. And all we can do is just look forward and keep kicking.
That's it. Just put your head down, and just keep marching right into it.
Yeah, keep marching into it. And so you said divide your separate your business and your personal. Yeah. That's number one. Incorporate. Learn about taxes, where you can save some taxes. Cash flow is the king. Anything else you can think about right off the top of your head?
I mean, taxes. I don't know about you, man, but we got into tax trouble in the beginning, and it took probably 6 years to get out of that tax trouble. And it wasn't the taxes that we owed; it was the penalties and interest that they kept going on. And then you hear this talk about offers and compromise, and you pay these accounts to do all this stuff. And then finally, a little secret, if they have any hint that you're going to be able to get out of it and pay them, why would they give you an offer and compromise? They're not going to.
Yeah.
So that was really, I could have done a lot of things much better at that time.
Yeah, that's one thing that I would advise too. Learn that you still got to pay taxes. There's a lot of businesses that get in that problem. I mean, in that trouble. So, I mean, I would always say, hey, hire a good accountant, And don't go the cheap route.
And make yourself an employee, right? It's a paycheck. Don't just keep it separate. And then as you get bigger, you can do distributions and types of things. You can say,
but you got to make yourself an employee. You got to get a paycheck.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of business. A lot of businesses they go in there. They're working. Well, when you're in the business, you're for yourself. You work harder than when you work for somebody else, right?
Absolutely.
That's the truth. A lot of people go in business thinking that they won't have to work as hard as they were working before.
They're setting themselves up for failure right away.
What was your experience about that?
God. Okay, yeah, I'd say be your own boss, name your own hours. Yeah, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Yeah, name your own hours, right? And oh my gosh. And like I said, I was just really self-employed because again, I was learning a lot of stuff. I was moving into something very different. Right? The motor controls, working with these manufacturers and stuff. I can remember working 7 days a week for months straight through the holidays.
Yeah.
14-hour days, 15-hour days, A problem for me, and it's like someone, you impress me. I find it impressive. It's inspiring, right? And I have a couple of other buddies that have done what you do, and it's that scaling.
Yeah.
I'm a micromanager. I'm a micromanager. I'm a perfectionist. And while not clinically diagnosed, I'm sure I'm OCD. So those types of things are not conducive to scaling. So I'm really, really focusing on trying to step back and let the team that I have in place do what they do. Yeah. And I constantly, sometimes I'll step in and I'll say things and I think, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. And I mean, I do that too. I suffer from that too, time to time. But it takes a lot, to step back and let people make mistakes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. But you always got to be there when there's people who say step back and let your team work, let your team develop. You can't let them make fatal mistakes because, I feel like you're always one mistake away from going bankrupt.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's how I think. And I mean, it's, unless you're like have Warren Buffett's money, then, 1-2 mistakes and you out,
Absolutely. And listen, we were operating on fumes as early as the end of 2017. We had a very anti-business climate in the government, and especially towards the oil-related industries. And when they shut down all the production and everything going in the Gulf, when they had that leak, that was catastrophic for us.
Yeah.
I'm kind of I did all my work in the beginning, and I'm about quality of life. I'm into traveling. If I'm not traveling at least once every 3 months, 4 times a year, I'm not happy.
Tell us about that. I mean, how do you maintain balance?
Well, I think it's easy because I'm kind of lazy when it comes to that. I've already put all in my good years, right? So
your company, you've had your company now with
27 years.
27 years, yeah. So, I mean, were you traveling like that in the beginning?
No, I really, for the first 5 years, it was very, very difficult, man. Because again, I was self-employed. I maybe had 1 employee, 2 employees. I was doing all the work myself, all the design, and inherently in what I do, I'm the one that maintains the master's license, and all of the employees have to be under my direct supervision. That's a requirement, right? So we can't have 1099s, and they have to be my employees. And I like providing technical support, and I still teach my guys. I still do a class on Saturdays. I just finished one for our younger guys, teaching them how to do these motor controls, because there's no place you can learn that.
And the motor control, you said you have traveled around the world doing this motor control. Tell me, where have you gone?
Okay.
And what have you done for some people?
Okay. So again, it starts with that working with a small to mid-sized OEM here in Houston, right? So they're building some type of equipment. So when they send it overseas, most of them will go I've done several projects in Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, Trinidad, and then North America. But most of them were what they call FAT, a factory acceptance test, where they put this piece of equipment over there, and now it has to be demonstrated as acceptable. Turn it on, make it work. And so a lot of times I'll be there just to assist in that startup.
Gotcha. So you did that, and you self-taught yourself that. You went ahead and took over. Now, what is the name of your company?
It's RMG Electrical Inc. It's my initials, RMG Electrical Inc.
Okay. So, Robert, if people like looking for, I mean, what if someone is listening and they're like, man, I need an electrical company, how will they find you?
Well, we have we're on Facebook, Instagram. Of course, we're listed in the.
Got a website?
Yeah, we have a website, all that stuff. Right?
What is your website?
It's the name of the company, so it's www.rmgelectrical.com.
RMGelectrical.com.
Yeah.
Easy, man.
Yeah, easy, man.
RMG Electrical.
RMG
and you do basically, besides automation, that's where you specialize in, and that's what you like to do for big factories, bigger OEM, any kind of factory that needs that automation.
Yes.
You also do, did you say you also do offshore project?
Well, no, not so much, just for assistance if they need some type of technical assistance. That doesn't happen. I have a pending project for Saudi Arabia for 3 weeks in January.
Okay.
I'm waiting to see if that comes through. But now I may travel once every 2 or 3 years, and it's usually it takes longer to get there and get back than it does for what we do. And I still like to do that part of it. But we are fully licensed and insured electrical contractors.
So, and you'll do, like, you basically do any strip center, any mall, like that also?
So that's where it gets a little tricky. We'll do any commercial or industrial facility. We shy away with general construction.
Gotcha.
Lease space build out, those types of things are not.
You don't want to do. That's not your specialty.
Well, usually contractors are looking for the cheapest person to do that, and I just never saw how that benefited
Yeah, you're
me.
more in the industrial space.
Absolutely. But even commercial, we have a lot of customers that have office space, and we'll maintain their lighting or upgrade them to LED and exterior lighting, all of that stuff.
Okay.
We do all of that.
All right.
So
you do small work too, but you just don't like to do small retail built out.
Right. No, we literally do small work. So if you were to say to me, well, the lights are not working in the restroom, we literally would send an electrician out to repair that.
Figure out if there was a contact or what happened. Yeah, gotcha.
In fact, we consider ourselves service oriented.
Okay.
Right. So.
All right, and gmgelectrical.com RMGelectrical.com is where they can find you.
You been drinking already, Sam?
No.
All right, brother. That's that vodka or water in there?
It's pretty
water. It's not
water.
that hard, man. It's RMG.
I got it. RMG Electrical. I don't know why I thought it was the other way. Robert, tell me what are your small short-term goals,
To work as little as possible.
To work as little as possible.
I wish I should have a definitive answer for that. I can tell you for myself now that I'm really trying to focus on networking now. That's something that's always just kind of happened by happenstance.
Yeah.
And I think I'm trying to create a more focused effort towards that. When I stop and think about all the projects we get and the bigger projects, a lot of the ones, and again, we're a small company. So it's several $100,000 project, $600,000, $50,000 project. All these new ones that come in, usually just because someone I met, maybe at Top Sushi. Mm-hmm. Literally, I met a dude at Top Sushi. We had a $200,000 project after we talked about and it came to fruition. Mm-hmm. So what that says to me is stop worrying about, did Johnny go out and fix so-and-so for 2 hours at plant X, and focus on bringing in that type of possibility.
Yeah.
And I do have my two of my three sons working for us, and I have a couple of good guys. I have several guys. One guy's been with me over 15 years, and another guy's been with me over 10 years, and they are an integral part of my team. I rely on them heavily, and I'm hoping that my son will become a part of that. And let them take it. All my energy's gone, Sam. Let the young people run with it. I'm comfortable.
Yeah. So now you said that you like traveling. When did you start traveling 3 times a year?
So what happened was after that 5-year period and the kids were small, we do a lot of stuff where we always said we do 2 trips a year with kids and 2 trips without. So I've been married 27 years. So 2 with, 2 without, right? And it was all small stuff, right? So we go to San Antonio for a long weekend. We go to, we go back and forth, Austin, San Antonio. And then I got to talk with my wife, and by the time we were staying in a nice hotel, the Hyatt or whatever, and we were spending a couple of $1,000s, so we can get a plane ticket and go somewhere. So then we started going to Vegas and then Mexico, and it just kept going. And as our income level went up, and before you know it, we were in Dubai for the UFC in September, my wife and I. It's the first time she'd ever been to the Middle East. I was glad for her to see that. Some people have these misconceptions of what it's all about. People are just people for the most part, but so it just became a part of, we try to go someplace different. There are places we've been multiple times, like Cabo San Lucas. We love Cabo. Vegas, we love Vegas, but Amsterdam, London, Rome, Paris, Venice.
So you have traveled pretty good places.
Oh yeah, man. Costa Rica with some friends of ours, Hawaii, Cozumel, Turks and Caicos, Jamaica. We try to go someplace new.
So and why is it so important to you?
Gosh, number one, I enjoy it, and my wife enjoys it. We enjoy it together. Mm-hmm. And the kids enjoyed it, and they got to the point. We go snow skiing a lot. It's an education, especially when you travel overseas. When so many of us, we live in this little bubble, and you think people are, so they hear, oh, this person's of Middle Eastern descent or whatever. They have all these preconceived notions, and I think it's, when you get out there and you start seeing everybody's the same, they really are, and everybody's, what they have to bring to the table is beautiful. There's something beautiful everywhere, even here in the United States, right? Mm-hmm. And I just like it.
Yeah.
Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
no, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, education is more. I mean, traveling is more like an education of the mind. It's entertain. It's basically you get on hand kind of thing, and I mean, and it opens up new horizons. It opens up your thinking. It broadens your thinking. I think it's just better for the mind. It's better for the body, better for the soul. I guess. I mean, everything. Is just it's good. And I mean, if you have never traveled somewhere and you just stay in that one bubble, ignorance is a bliss.
Yeah, and we've been blessed to get to a point where we can fly, first class to places and do things and stay in nice places, but it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
You don't have to spend a fortune.
Yeah.
Just get on a plane and go somewhere, get a budget ticket, whatever,
Yeah, I read it somewhere. Once a year, go somewhere new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say 4 times a year.
well, you're one of the fortunate ones, right? It just doesn't. I mean, some like me, I can't go 4 times a year. I mean, because I just don't have the time. I mean, but then I say that. But I mean, if I can go for 2-3 days, I mean, I probably, this last year, I think I probably did go 4 times.
And that's what we do. So, I mean, it's 4 or 5 days. Honestly, it's almost like the Griswolds. When we get to this, we get to the Grand Canyon, we go, all right, let's get back in the car. I mean, we're not those, we drove through the parking lot of the Louvre. I mean, we're just not the sit and wonder at the marvel of it for 30,000 hours type.
Yeah, because I'm thinking over here, and I went to Vegas beginning of the year with some friends. Then I went to Gulf Shore with the family. Then I went to Vegas with my kids and Lucy, and then I went to Tulum with her recently.
Yeah, beautiful, man.
So I mean, I have gone 4 times this year too. Now that I'm thinking,
there you go.
But I don't go for a long period of time.
Neither do we. And I do want.
Now Tulum, we did go for 7 days.
When we go overseas, we will stay 7, sometimes 10 days, but not always, right? I think we went to Dubai. I think it was just 7 days. We did Dubai and Abu Dhabi, but honestly, 5 days is enough for us. At that point, we're just kind of, all right, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, you're ready to go. Hey, Robert, now you said, how old are you?
I am 56 years
56 years old, and you're in pretty good shape. Is there like any morning ritual or any habit, any ritual that you do that keeps you in good shape? What is it?
Well, that's funny. I have when I used to, before this COVID thing, I'd go to the gym. It's, my wife and I met in a gym 30 years ago. And this young said, well, how did you get into shape like that? And I said, well, I never got out of shape. So it's just a lifestyle for me. I worked out. Now we have a gym in our home, and I work out. So I'll get up, have a cup of coffee, and maybe check out a little social media or whatever, and then boom, I'm out to the gym. And I'll do 45 minutes or so. And then now I'm into practicing Spanish. Aprendo español.
Oh, yeah, good, man.
So I'll do that for at least 30 minutes every day, and then I do whatever after that.
So what is making you learn Spanish?
I just want to.
You just want to.
I just want to. Yeah.
That's a good answer. I just want to. I mean, you got to learn something different. You got to, have a little hobby. Matter of fact, I can't reveal it right now, but Angel can tell you. I just learned recently something really good that I probably never have imagined doing.
Oh yeah, what's that?
I can't tell you right now.
Share it with me.
We'll do it off camera because it's a project that needs to be on there.
I love it.
And I mean of course you gotta learn something. I want to become like a really proficient swimmer. Yeah. Like, I mean, I can swim a little bit. I'm not a great swimmer.
I've got a story about that.
Yeah.
I always thought I was a great swimmer, right? And then I started doing those sprint triathlons probably about 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And the first time I got in open water with a bunch of people around me, I realized I was not a good swimmer, and then I had to learn. So, yeah, that is a trick, you know, and I got heavily into that, and we did a lot of running and stuff. And I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's been difficult this year. So I like to just kind of cross-train before that became a buzzword,
Yeah. The cross-training. So now, what about your diet?
I say that I probably eat good to decent 80% of the time. Mm-hmm. Right? You've met me before, but I like whiskey. I like to have a drink. But I'm kind of blessed with the type of body that doesn't really, put on fat. So and I've got a certain amount of muscle that it's easy to keep on. So I'm not one of those freaks. At one time I was, and I'm not calling those people freaks. That's awesome when you have that type of willpower.
Yeah.
I don't have it.
Uh-huh.
And I don't want it because I'd rather be out hanging with you at Top Sushi having some drinks, man.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm about working hard. And when I work out, I work hard. And when I go to jiu-jitsu and we roll, those young guys, they know Robert rolls hard. You know, I do the best that I can. You know, it's just in my nature, you know.
That's good. So Robert, you know, is there something that you feel like, man, I wish I would have done this in business? I know you said, hey, I wish I could be less micromanager. Okay. And what do you think about micromanagement? Is it good? Is it bad?
Well, I think ultimately it deflates egos. It harms those around you, and you can't do it all yourself. If you want to be working by yourself with just 2 or 3 people, then go ahead and micromanage. If you want to build up something, you know, then it's just not going to be possible.
Yeah.
I think that really my little mantra now, and I had some stuff, I won't go into it, but in the end of 18, I had some kind of catastrophic personal stuff happen that really kind of had me down on the ground rolling, you know, trying to catch my breath. And at that point, it just made me realize that I need to be a better person. And I just, so my mantra is just be a better person, be a better friend, be a better father, be a better boss, you know, just be a better man. And every day I fall short.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But every day I'm saying, I mean, and that's what I was saying. I'm working out because I almost feel like it's the legs of a table, right? You need to be strong physically. You need to be strong financially, right? Because people say, well, money can't buy you happiness. Nobody can buy you a lot of stuff that'll make you happy. And also, it's the only thing that gets you out of a bind when the shit hits the fan. Excuse my English.
Yeah,
You know,
that's fine.
You got to have that financial stability, right? And then the intellect, the mind, right? Why am I learning Spanish? Hey, I need to be learning something new. And even in my business, I'm constantly, we're just now doing it where we can do 4G communication to remote control equipment and connect to it. So we're constantly learning something new. And the last thing is spiritual. I'm not a religious person. I went to religious schools, but I'm not, right? But I believe in, you know how like somebody that they'll have everything and they seem miserable. You ever met that guy?
Yeah.
Wow, this dude's got a nice car, and he's miserable because there's something wrong on the inside. Money won't fix it. Stuff won't fix it. Working out won't fix it. It's spiritual. Whatever makes you whole spiritually. Maybe it's church. You know, maybe it's you know, I don't know, meditation. You know, whatever it is, you need to be spiritually balanced.
You ever meditate?
I do, but in a different way, not in that focus way. I'm kind of more now because of jiu-jitsu, it kind of got me more into stretching. So I kind of do like a self-taught yoga type stuff when I'm
you zone
up.
out. You zone out when you're stretching. So that's what it is. Yeah, like me, I like running.
Oh, I loved it.
And I zone out when I'm running.
I always did. I had the clearest mind.
Yeah.
It was so cerebral. Running was cerebral for me. I could just think so clearly, but the knees have told me, Robert, no more.
Yeah, and that's what I'm scared of, right? Because I run a lot, okay? But I like running. For some reason, running outside is, I think, a little more better.
Oh, I agree.
You know, I feel like when you're running out in the nature, it just I think it's just a different feeling than running on a treadmill.
It's the spirit.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've always loved running. I'm a big, you know, proponent of it. I love it. It's not, I'll try to maybe just do a 5K every once in a while just to make sure that I can go out there and do it, you know?
Yeah.
And I've even thought about maybe, I told Linda, again, I'm 56 years old, you know, and I know I'm in good shape, but I'm still 56 years old. It's like, I wonder if I could just run a mile as fast as I could.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, could you go out and do a 100-yard sprint as fast as you possibly could?
Yeah.
So many times. And I got to think, you know, I ran marathons, and I'd run 6 miles every day. And it's like, I'll never need to run 6 miles in my life, but you might have to run a half mile really damn fast.
Yeah.
You know?
So I mean, do you think your knees will allow you to run?
I think they will. That short-term thing, right?
Yeah.
But
it's probably the long distance running you can't do it.
And that was the thing too, right? So I could go out and jog 3 miles, no problem. No recourse. Do it a second or third day in that week. Now I can't go up the stairs.
Now you can't go up the stairs. I get you. And how did you find out that was happening?
Oh,
because the pain.
Can go upstairs.
Because the pain. So went to go see a doctor, and doctor's like, no more running.
You know, I'm just so. Well, I'm a diabetic. You know, I'm a type 2 diabetic. So I have to take certain medicines and stuff, but I just try to avoid it. Now I've got I've always been a kind of a weightlifting. I'm fast twitch muscle fiber. I believe in as heavy as you can lift with good form. I'm heavyweight, low rep, and I've got 3 bulging discs that are pushing on my nerve, and my whole arm hurts, and this finger's numb, and all my strength is gone. So I've had to this whole year has just really been weird, man. I had to change everything.
You had to change everything. So now you're doing low weight, high rep?
Yeah. I'm doing more of that. I do intervals. So I've got this boxing timer, and I've got a really nice gym with a 6-foot Muay Thai bag, speed bag, double-ended bag, free weights, everything, and a lot of cables. And I'll do 1 minute of something, and I've got 15 seconds. The bell goes off, 15 seconds, get to the next station, and I'll just do those stations. And I just pick them. Whatever I want it to be that day. Okay. And sometimes I will go heavy, but it's just not heavy.
You build it in your garage or in the room?
It's in the garage, but it's all
insulated.
But it's all collapsible so that the cars. I have a 3-car garage and all the cars fit in. So, but I've got a nice wood. It's set up really nice. Okay. Stall mats, but the cars park and you pull them out. You set it.
You might have to send me some pictures, man. I want to take a look at it. Yeah, I'll come stop by and see it.
It's awesome. Yeah. It's awesome.
So, we are getting towards the end of our interview.
Oh, man, already?
And there's a couple of things you already said, which answered my question, which I was going to ask you. But I would probably, if you repeat it, which is fine. There's, I always ask my guest, if there's 3 things that, let's just say today is the end of the world. Okay, everything is gone. This interview is gone. Your social media is gone. Anything that you've ever done, people don't know what you have done. But someone gives you a pen and a paper and say, Robert, here goes a pen and a paper. Write 3 things for your future generation, the rest of the world, so they can see what Robert Garrett was about. What you ask people to do, what you can leave people in advice, or how to live your life. What will it be?
Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Treat people the way you want to be treated.
Treat people. Okay. But say that the other way. Do what?
Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you.
Well, that's good. I like that. Or treat people.
Treat people the way you want to be treated. That would be number 1. Give people the benefit of the doubt. Don't be so quick you don't know what an individual is going through. Somebody is rude to you. Maybe they cut you off. They do this, but you don't know. Maybe this person's child is sick. You don't know. So don't rush to judgment. Give people the benefit of the doubt.
Like that.
And then I guess thirdly, enjoy life. It's short. You see these people, you see it all the time. Here's this thing, right? Every once in a while, this will come up in a newspaper or a magazine, or now it's a blog or whatever, where so-and-so died, and they were 70 years old, and they had $10 million in their bank account, but they tied a rope around their belt, tied a rope around their pants to keep it up. They never had a new car. They never did. Am I supposed to envy that? Is that what life is all about? I mean, how pathetic. People say, well, you got to pay somebody to do my yard. You need to share the love. Everybody needs to make money, not just us. Yeah. Everybody needs to make money. Share the love.
Yeah. Matter of fact, someone told me the other day at my church, they're like, well, God gave you the money. You spend it. He didn't give you the money to sit on it,
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, so, why you want to put the rope around your belt instead of that? But yeah, if you can, everybody needs to make money. Everybody needs to be whole. Robert, look, you've done well for yourself. You've been in business for 27 years. That's an accomplishment, right? Yeah. And you might say, man, I could have made a little more money, but I'm comfortable with what I do, right? Yes. But you're a very humble guy. I mean, from the time we met, I mean, you invite people to your house. Yeah, you always open their door. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen you in a bad mood. You might have been at work, but when we see you outside, it's a different story. I mean, you're treating everybody like, hey, you want to meet other people and everything. What is your definition of humility, and why is it so important, or is it important?
Well, I think it's definitely important. I wonder if for number one, I think it's the right thing to do. I mean, you can be confident, but you don't have to scream it out to everybody. I mean, and even I think maybe people that knew me in high school and stuff would say, well, Robert was very conceited. And but if they really knew me, they know that that's deep down inside. It's insecurity. I was adopted. All these abandoned at birth types. All these things, man, that make you not. So, I think that that just being okay with who I am and my flaws, and I think also a lifetime of martial arts. I've a black belt in karate, black belt in taekwondo. I've now gotten off into Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and you're going to get humbled. I don't care who you, and I'm strong as bull, so what? Your cardio can't go. Somebody's got a good technique. They're going to humble you. So I think that helps me too, quite frankly, to get, a lot of people walk around with a false sense of bravado, and I'll just knock this. They're walking around. They have no clue what could happen to them in a real life scenario. And that's a dangerous thing.
Yeah. In a real life scenario, you get, life can knock you down. Yeah, life knocks you down.
It will.
And when life knocks you down, there's no control.
It's not if,
when.
It's when.
So you said earlier, in 2000, end of 2018, you decided, man, I need to be a better man, better father, better. Well, what do you mean by better man? If you don't, what is your definition?
Well, it's kind of organic. It's dynamic. It's constantly changing. I guess ultimately it doesn't really matter what you think about yourself. It's what other people think about you. Yeah, you think you're a great guy, but if people think you're a jerk, well, then the reality is you're a jerk. So maybe by being a better man, I try to treat people better, and I always fall short. Don't get me wrong, man. I'm not trying to. I know that I'm going to fall short every day, and I do have a razor temper, and the older I get, the better I get at controlling it, but I just want to be a better person. And I don't even know if I can explain it to you or define it clearly, but I just want to be a better person.
Hey, Robert, if someone says, man, I listened to this whole interview, this guy, I don't even know who this guy is. If you got to explain yourself in 1 minute, how will you explain yourself? Or less than 1 minute. Well, who are you? Who is Robert Garrett?
A business owner, family man, a father, a grandfather, a husband, a friend. And I truly want to just have a good time with people around me that want to have a good time, because one day we're not here. I just want to enjoy life, and I like to enjoy it with other people. That's what's bad about what's going on now. We're meant to be productive and social, and they're trying to kill both of them.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Robert. Thanks for coming over here, man.
It's my pleasure.
Thanks for sharing, some of the stuff with us. And man, I wish I can go for hours on this thing. Unfortunately, I have to do it at an X amount of time.
I understand.
But man, thank you so much again.
Absolutely.
Thank you. It was good seeing you again, man.
My pleasure.